It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Lighten Up, a show about bringing more love, light, and joy into your life, and archived on the Lighten Up program page. Please join us in the chat room by clicking on the chat room icon located on the left-hand side of our menu bar. Now the host of Lighten Up, Isabel Merians.
Welcome to Lighten Up with Isabel, your good news show, bringing more love, light, and joy into your life. I'm delighted that you're with us today, and if this is the first time, I'd like to review a little bit of our first program. And we focused on gratitude, helping others, humor, play, and the ABCs of living a more joyous life. I'll just say a few words about each of these things. Gratitude. I will make you a promise today. If when you get up in the morning or before you go to bed in the evening, if you'll just take a couple of minutes and write down all of the things that you're grateful for in your life, it will make your days and weeks much, much more joyous. Helping others is also a wonderful thing. There was a famous psychoanalyst by the name of Alfred Adler who told his depressed patients before coming back to see him the next time, if they would do one simple thing to help someone else, it would get them into a happier state of mind. The next is humor, bringing more humor into your life, and that can include many, many different ways of doing it. Play. Also, not only playing games, but playing as a child would play, jumping into piles of leaves or rolling down a hill. These are things that are fun and make you feel like a kid again. And then the ABCs of living a more joyous life. Last week's recommendation was A, because it's the first letter of the alphabet, and it's always say thank you when a prayer is answered. Today is B, believe in your dreams and the intent and the will that drives those dreams from hoping and wishing and intent into realization. So that's my promise to you. Just try it for a few days and see how it works. And now today, my good news to you is our guest for today, the extraordinary Richard Quinn. Richard Quinn has had a variety of successful careers. Musician, photographer, and now director and producer of Rockland World Radio and director of the Nyack Village Theater. Richard, are you available? He certainly brings lots of joy and light into the world. The richness and diversity of his programs show great curiosity and an eagerness to explore, and certainly a facile intelligence and much courage. And here is our wonderful guest, much beloved and respected within this community, and hopefully around the world. Welcome, Richard. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for being here also. Here's to Lighten Up.
Thank you.
I'm feeling rather light this afternoon.
Wonderful.
You always bring a effervescent spirit to the stage.
Well, you're very kind. Now, I'd really like to start talking to you about your music, because I know that your first big career was as a musician. And at what age did you start studying music?
I think I was 5.
5? Wow.
Yes.
You got a head start.
Yeah. Well, my uncle had played guitar, and So I think when I was 5, there was a band called the Beatles.
That's inspiration right
yes.
there.
So, that was okay. So guitars are cool. And
Yeah.
so I started playing, although the songs I was playing, I weren't Beatles songs. They were Camptown Races and
The beginning stuff.
yes.
And your parents were very encouraging.
Yeah, sure. I was driven to the instructor's house each week, and that went on for a few years.
Wow. Now tell me, was your uncle like your inspiration, or did he give you any guidance, or was he just there?
Well, no, he was. I recall times when he and other relatives and friends would be playing their instruments in the back of the house where there's a patio and a fireplace, and it was nice and open. So when I was very young, they were playing live music.
That's exciting.
So the idea, a live musician was something that was just always, present, and it wasn't something that was an alien topic or subject.
So that was great. And how long did you continue with your music? Are you still continuing?
Well, the music stays with you if you can stay with the music.
Right,
if you can dance, the music will stay with you.
Yeah. Well, there's a wonderful old saying among the gypsies that if you dance every day, you're never too old to dance. So I'm sure that applies to music as well.
It does, yes. And the more you explore music, if you're open, you can enjoy so much more than the small amount that you start with.
Right.
You'll start with what's around you, and then you can expand out to other regions of the planet Earth, which have their own distinct style of music.
Well, certainly being a musician brings a lot of joy, a lot of spirit into one's life. And did you play through high school and
especially through high school?
Especially.
Yes. And well,
did you have an orchestra or a band?
No, it was a band. The school had an orchestra, and we were all required to have music class. But we were forming our bands.
Right.
We're getting together, so you would have a friend who played drums, and someone else who played bass, and someone else who played other instruments, and rehearsed in someone's basement or garage.
Now, did you go from guitar to any other instrument?
I enjoy playing piano a bit,
Good.
and synthesizer especially. Although the piano is such a wonderful instrument. And anything I can get my hands on that I can create a sound with. I'm not very good with woodwind.
Drumming?
Drumming I can do pretty well. I have a few beats I can play. Synthesizer, xylophone is totally enjoyable.
Different.
It's hard to make that instrument not sound good, and you just whack it with a mallet.
I know. Well,
I still want to, I would still like to have that instrument in my collection.
Well, it's really funny. My brother once told me a story about a young man that he went to school with, who was not a very good student and had never expressed any interest in music. And one day they were talking, and he invited my brother to his home. And he said, "I'm going to show you something." And my brother went to his home, and he had a collection of instruments and was proficient on all of them. And my brother said to him, I can't believe you're not sharing this. He said, "Well, I never thought I was really good enough," so he just played at home, which was really kind of strange.
It happens, though.
Yeah.
Where the writer is not necessarily up to the task of performing, going on the road.
Did you go on the road with your band?
A bit. And New York City was most home to the performances, and some of the best clubs in New York City at the time.
What was the name of your band?
Well, we had one called Sentinel, and the next one was called The Electric Crusade,
I
And
think
then
I've heard of that one.
we had that was quite popular, and then there was the Quinn and the Eskimos, which
How did
seems
you
to
come
have
up with
stuck.
that one?
Well, I didn't really come up with it. People were calling me Quinn then mostly, and then it turned to Here Comes the Eskimo. Then I heard Quinn and the Eskimos, the song.
I'm not familiar with
It's
that.
a Bob Dylan song.
Really, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. When Quinn the Eskimo gets here, everybody's gonna jump for joy. Come on, without. It was done by Manfred Mann, I believe, although Bob Dylan wrote it. So, Quinn and the Eskimos was created then, and it's also good because any musician who's playing becomes an Eskimo. Since that was the last inception of performances. So, the Eskimos are still alive and well.
Oh, that's great. I know that you also became a photographer at a certain point. Was that while you were still part of the band, or
Well,
how did that evolve?
It's wonderful. Now everyone has a camera. So everyone has the opportunity to be a photographer. I enjoyed. Once again, it's the opportunity to take photographs. If you have a camera, you can take. So I was throughout time. I had taken photographs more times than others. But it was especially during my being a singer-songwriter and musician that I had time during the day. I could,
Perform
I
at
think,
night.
be a singer-songwriter, musician, 4 hours a day, sometimes less, and yet still have a lot of time to explore other methods of creation or capturing moments. With photography, it's capturing something
Yes.
rather than a projection of something. The projection would be, I guess, an exhibit after the fact. But
Right.
as a photographer, you capture things. So documentation of time and space and images is always, I found it and still do find it fascinating and very enjoyable.
Well, now, were you photographing members of the band, or just
Yeah, I photographed some musicians
Yeah.
and
did you ever think
models were a favorite.
Well, sure. They're always nice to look at.
And everyone needs a portfolio.
Right.
So that was an enjoyable, time. Way to spend some time is photographing people who are, want to look good in front of the camera and pose, and it's good because their
It was
endorphins are pumping,
Pumping,
and they're projecting, and it's you have to have a communication with your subject, so it's very fulfilling on many levels.
Well, let me ask you this. My feeling has always been that if you're a creative person, there's always another road. There's always another. If you're blocked in one area, you always can go in a different road. Do you think that?
Not just being, being an artist is valuable in many ways, and being an artist goes into everything, every career, or just cooking, a chef, or a baker. There's a lot of art that goes into that, and if you know how to be a baker, not that I am a baker, but I would believe if you really were a true baker and ran a bakery, you would probably have a lot of experience on doing a lot of other things, on how to approach the work project, as it were. If you could be a baker, you were a baker. Or he might have to bake something else. Who knows what the baker might have to. He might have to get into baking things he didn't want to. I don't know what the ethics of baking are, or the hierarchy of what a great bakery.
Great chef is. Well, I had a friend who's a very fine sculptor, and she also loved to bake. And I said to her, because baking is not something that I really do, And I said to her one day, I said, it's so interesting to me that you really, she said, oh, cooking is such a creative thing. It's really wonderful. And then you get to feed the people you care about. It's wonderful.
You put on some music while you're cooking.
Absolutely.
Have a nice glass of wine.
Yeah.
People are smelling the aromas that definitely perks your senses.
Well, Richard, I have to tell you that since our premiere a couple of weeks ago, I have been receiving suggestions from people. And one of the things that they've suggested is that I tell a humorous story every week, every time I'm here. So someone sent me in this little story about two men who were very close, very dear friends, and had worked together for 40 years. And one day, unfortunately, Sam died. And his friend Joe was absolutely bereft. He missed him terribly. And he so wanted to get in touch with him. So he went to a medium and asked the medium if she could, in fact, put him in touch with his lost friend. And she's able to do it. And Joe says to him, Sam, are you all right? I've been so worried about you.
So she gets in touch.
She gets in touch. And sure enough, his friend, his departed friend, says, yes, I'm fine. I'm really okay. So Joe said to him, well, how are you? What do you do? What's it like there? And so Sam says to him, well, Joe, he said, you get up in the morning, you have a little something to eat, you go out for a nice walk, you make a little love, you come back, take a nap, you get up, have something to eat, go out for a little walk, and make a little love. So at this point, his friend Joe is amazed, and he says to him,
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I said, so Sam, you really are in heaven. You really are in heaven. And Sam says to him, no, I'm a buffalo in Montana. I thought that was cute. So now all the people who are listening in are sending me little stories, and I'll try to pick the best ones to share.
Hey, that's a good idea for people to send in little funny stories.
So,
as they tune in to Lighten Up. A great show, by the way.
Thank you.
Great show. I'm glad you started it. As we said before,
I'm glad you gave me the opportunity.
Before you started the first program and the concept of, lighter stories about living and what makes it more enjoyable, rather than a burden.
And laughter is the best medicine. We know that for sure. Now, I have to ask you a very personal question, and that is, was it your entrepreneurial spirit, or was it simply a question of progression that's gotten you to where you are today? Because most people looking at you from the outside in would say, this guy's got a dream set up. I mean, it seems...
Overnight.
Overnight. Oh, yeah, just like all actors and actresses.
I just had to come in and turn the lights on.
Oh, how about that? No, but was it a specific intention of yours? Was it an entrepreneurial spirit? What really led you? Because this is what really fascinates me, is how you got here. I mean, here you are in a wonderful position to bring a lot of light with your wonderful programming. It's so rich and varied. And you said something to me that I thought was rather touching. You said, and you help a lot of other people on their journeys, which I thought was a beautiful, beautiful statement. So what was it that actually led you from being a fine musician, a fine photographer, to being this entrepreneur who's now doing a gazillion things with programming and the Night Village Theater? I mean, how did you get from point A to point Z?
Well, the theater provides space.
Right.
As an artist, that needs space for photography and also video. I've worked extensively with video in all genres of filming, whether it be corporate or musical, or artistically or fashion shows. I've shot a lot of video. and also having launched Rockland World Radio, which is an internet broadcast station, which was launched in May 2003.
So that's 11 years.
11 years ago. So we're in our 11th season, or our 12th season, could be. So that sort of gave us, or gave us, when I mean us, everyone who's been on Rockland World Radio or continues to work with Nyack Village Theater, but it's given the opening, the option, the opportunity to have people come on since the inception of Rockland World Radio. And with that brought a lot of people who wanted to be get their message out. Health and holistic comedians and rappers were very the front of this revolution of internet broadcasting, and we offered a high and low band access to it. And now this year, and quite a few years, you could pick up internet broadcasting on phones. So since we've started 11 years ago, we're now streaming to your phone.
Yeah, I know.
From this space.
Well,
so we really didn't need this.
Yeah.
We needed the space
Which is great.
to accomplish and fulfill all that we can be. And it gives me space to run around with my guitar or a camera or a video camera with a lot of people in it, and also provide an entertainment venue that has 49 seats here, to give the performers a audience response,
Which is wonderful.
Yeah, it provides a small feedback.
Yeah.
But it's in a controlled, closed circuit almost. There's no balconies here. There aren't side places that people are sitting. It's straight ahead.
Forward.
So the focus is there, and when the magic happens on stage, it's really felt throughout the entire room.
And it comes back to the performer, of
Yes,
course.
so and then you've got this whole thing happening during the performance, and the camera captures that and broadcasts it.
Right.
And,
Right.
and
Which is great.
It's a wonder of technology.
Well, I want to speak a little bit about energy and intent. The stuff of the universe is pure energy, and it's malleable to intent. And scientists have found that on a subatomic level, the particles that are being experimented with in the laboratory respond to the intent and expectation of the scientist. So I really want to encourage our audience to know that their intent, if it's sincere and if it's continuing, can definitely bring about realization. So I think this is, and once intent and will are combined, they go like an arrow. They become very powerful, and if they're driven by enough passion and enough willingness on your part to take action, they can really bring about your dreams. They can really bring you to that point that you want to be.
It's claiming them.
Yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
claim it
As your own.
and that means
Absolutely.
being with it, through all sorts of situations, experiences.
Right.
This place would make a great reality show.
Absolutely. Well, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is a reality show. You just
A
haven't
lot
named it
happens
that.
backstage if we had camera, B, C, and D.
A lot's going on.
On the side rooms here, the green room and the dressing rooms. That would be very entertaining for people, yes, and revealing.
Well, Buddha once said that all that we are is a result of our thoughts. And of course, our thoughts give rise to intent, and it's a progression. So, what you intend to bring into your life, whether it's more love, more joy, new friends, expand your horizons, whatever it is that drives one,
And
your
all
intent.
of it, all that it is.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be one.
No,
or the
no.
other. It could be all.
It could be everything.
Yes.
Because every day is a new beginning. But I do feel that writing down that intention, your intentions, at least once a day. I have a friend, actually, who once wrote a letter to the universe. At that time, she had no home, she had no job, she had no family, she had nothing in her life. And she wrote this letter to the universe, which was really what she wanted to bring into her life. Mm-hmm. And today she is in a completely different situation. She's surrounded by a loving family. And her whole life is the way she had. It took 5 years for it to begin to manifest, so you can't expect it overnight.
No.
But I thought that was really extraordinary.
And they also say it's happiness is the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. But I was always very impressed with that. She taped it over her bed every night and read it. Mm. And I thought, she's the only person I've ever met who wrote a letter to the universe. That was kind of interesting.
Well, the art of letter writing has diminished greatly.
Unfortunately. Everybody texts today. I think the next generation is going to be born with very big eyes and very big thumbs.
Or only thumbs.
Okay, I have some good news flashes for today.
Good news flash.
Okay. Since 1990, infant mortality is down 50%.
Worldwide.
Since 1981, the number of people living under the poverty line has decreased worldwide by 65%.
Huge.
That's amazing. And the other flash of good news is that this new Pope is truly an enlightened spiritual leader. I'm so impressed with him. So those are my good news flashes.
He seems like the real deal.
Oh my God! I mean, he really gets it. You know, he's amazing. I think he's wonderful.
He's got a lot of work to do.
Well, the important thing is that they let him live.
He's off to a great start.
Yeah, I'm tremendously impressed.
His bio looks pretty good.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And I think he's wonderful.
People seem to like him.
Well, as well they might. Now, I wanted to ask you if you'd be kind enough to play us a little song.
I do have a wonderful guitar that my uncle Lenny had.
What was your uncle's last name?
Golia.
Golia,
Golia.
Uh-huh.
And this is his classical guitar, and he would play flamenco music on it. And he just turned 86.
Wow.
This year.
Does he still play?
He doesn't still play. So he had given it to me as a gift.
How wonderful. What a beautiful legacy.
And it does, it's a beautiful guitar. It's got great tone. Uh-huh. And I think what I'll do is get that ready, and perhaps we should take a break before we get into that.
Okay, lovely.
What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Okay, my dear.
People still don't believe that secondhand smoke is dangerous. This is Scott Bakula. Did you know that just being around someone who smokes can cause severe lung problems, heart disease, and cancer? But there is something you can do about it. Call for a free booklet from the Will Rogers Institute. It clearly explains the proven risks of secondhand smoke and the ways you can avoid exposure. Toll free 1-877-957-7575, because secondhand smoke is dangerous. Believe it.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
Well, because Mother Nature wanted to match your pretty little eyes.
Nope, not even close. See, all colors have wavelengths that are diffused by oxygen and nitrogen. Since blue has the shortest wavelength, it's diffused up to 10 times more. So the human eye sees more of it than any other color. That's why the sky looks blue, Daddy.
Who in the world taught you that?
Mommy.
By 6th grade, too many girls lose interest in math and science, and in just a few short years, almost all of the jobs they'll want will depend on having these skills. So keep her interest alive any way you can.
Daddy, do you know why the concept of odd and even is a philosophical illusion?
Why don't you tell me?
For more information and ideas, visit www.girlsgotech.org. Remember, it's her future. Do the math. A A public service message brought to you by Girl Scouts of the USA and the Ad Council.
So, Richard, are you going to play flamenco guitar?
And we're back.
Okay.
I could do a couple of chords.
I love flamenco guitar.
I've seen my uncle often enough. It's got a beautiful sound.
It does have wonderful
And you
tone.
could see here where he was playing.
It's yeah.
It's worn down because he was playing all the way up here. You know.
What is your favorite
Instrument or
No, music. Do you have a favorite that you particularly love?
I like all sorts of music. I enjoy playing guitar. The wonderful thing about intent and thought and intent, and then you go like, you just hit that note and the sound is created.
And it resonates.
Yeah, right here and right now. You don't have
Right.
to go to the printer. You don't have to go put it in the oven, even though the oven is good, that bakers are good, but it's like being a painter. You splash some color on. It's an immediate
Response.
right.
Yeah, immediate, which is lovely. Very nice. Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you.
And you certainly helped us lighten up and bringing lots of joy to everyone today.
I certainly hope
You've
so.
been a wonderful guest.
No, people
Thank
should
you.
get out and enjoy.
Absolutely. Live life to the fullest. Find the joy in every day. And remember, lighten up.
They're always welcome to the Nyack Village Theater. We have light performances here. We play movies. People hardly come out for some of the vintage movies. We play retro movies. We have plays.
Wow.
We have great programming.
Well, you
just
have
like
to
the
talk
Lighten
about
Up.
this.
Just like the Lighten Up program.
Great. Sounds wonderful to me.
All right. Thank you for
Joining me.
bringing me into your Lighten Up
It's a great pleasure.
today.
Thank you.
I'm going to go control the camera now. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was wonderful having you, and I hope you will join us next time for Lighten Up with Isabel, bringing more good news to you at every program. Thank you.
Until next time, remember to live a more joyous life. Lighten up.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com